So basically, if I actually use the sales script that I have,
Okay.
then things go well. And if I don't use it, then I am usually not in control of the call.
Okay. Why do you choose to use it and why do you choose not to use it?
So I use it when I remember, and I don't use it when I forget, which is just so silly.
Okay. Where is the script located?
Google Docs.
Okay. So you could print it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So you could print it and tape it to your computer. Hard to forget if it's sitting right in front of you.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Sometimes people say selling isn't about scripts. And Well, that's true in many cases, but at the other, once you gain hours and hours of experience with them. But as an example, I did 21,557 words over 1,500 times.
Wow.
It was a script, a 21,000 word script. It took an hour and 48 minutes to deliver. And
Wow.
at the point is by doing it repetitively, and that's called rote memory, you can literally get to the point where I would have people watch the script in the back of the room and they'd say, You were off maybe 10 words out of 21,000." And that was typically a response to the audience at the time. I only share that from the standpoint of scripts are there to give you success, to give you the proper path, and you use them typically only as long as it takes you to internalize them. Because
Mm.
then the next part of the skill set is making those scripts dance. I call it in a lot of my trainings. So the study was done in 1977 by Dr. Albert Maharaban at UCLA, and it was nonverbal personal communication. It was how do we communicate? And the study is typically misquoted by everybody. So not to disappoint, I will misquote it also. The But the foundation of the study is really important. It said that 7% of your communication is the words. 38% is the tonality behind the delivery of the words. 55% was the physiology, the gesturing, the other portions of it. And so whether the numbers are exactly accurate or not, you kind of get the idea. The words, which is what everybody focuses on typically, are the least important of the entire communication process. So, again, as an example, if I say, I hate you, the words are, I hate you, but the tonality and the gestures are, I'm just kidding. So, emojis were created to add tonality to texts because if the words were, you're awesome, pile of poo emoji, sends a totally different message than smiley face emoji, right? I was working to put a training deal together with a friend, really good friend, and I typed, sorry it didn't work out. I know we tried hard to make it work. Better luck next time. And I sent it. A couple days later, my friend said, yeah, I got your sarcastic email. I said,
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
send a sarcastic email. He said, let me read it. Sorry it didn't work out. We worked at it really hard. Thanks. Better luck next time. I said, that's not what I said. He said, it's your words. It was my words, but it was his tone. See, anytime we send out an email, anytime we send out a text, always read it 2 ways before you send it out. The first is as you intended it. You're on puppy uppers. You're as happy as can be. It's exactly the way you intended it. And then read it as if somebody just kicked your dog and you're mad and if you can apply tone to it, so can they. So messaging is tremendously important. And that's why this communication model becomes so important. Because what happens is we send a text, we're relying upon the words, hopefully the entire word, but many times we're working on the abbreviation of a word. And if we don't have the same definition of the abbreviation, the messaging can go way, way off if you think about it. We go boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Zs in the business arena right now. And the reality is, it's actually my next book is all about translating through the generations because a boomer can say something and one of the other generations takes it one way, not how the boomer intended it at all. But if the boomer isn't generationally aware, they don't get it. It's kind of like I had a friend who taught social media, and this is the way he taught it. X is like walking into a crowded bar, everybody's talking, nobody's listening. Facebook is like a backyard barbecue with your family. Everybody's jovial, everybody gives everybody time and space. LinkedIn is like you're riding up an elevator in a high rise. Everybody's either looking at the ceiling or their shoes. Kind of stodgy. They're doing it the way they learned it because it's the only way they were taught it. Period. Not their fault. That being said, if we don't take our own opportunity to learn more and do better, that's shame on us. A Gen Z message is grow, learn, and level up with a community that supports you daily. The millennial message is a smart, predictable way to invest in your growth every month. The Gen X message is a support system that gives you clarity, direction, and control. The boomer message is stay connected, keep learning, and be guided by experts you trust. All 4 of those statements were for the exact same offer, but they were for the exact same offer to different age groups.
How did you know how to do that?
It's a lot of years of doing this. It's understanding the motivators and what inspires the different generations. The quality of your life is truly the quality of your communication. The ability to choose words. Is it powerful? Does it move the needle? Does it get people to take action? So again, I know we've gone a long way around from your scripts, but that's why scripts are important. Because if they give you the path that is proven to work, then utilize them. One of my greatest compliments from one of my mentors was when he came back and took me to dinner and he said, I've got to ask you this question. Out of the thousands of students that I've taught, thousands and thousands, you're easily the most successful out of them all, but you're also the only one who has done everything I told you to do. I suggested you do. I have to know why. Why would I pay you all that money to learn how to do this and then not do what you suggest? He said, "You are the only one who ever has." When somebody gives you something that works, use it. Don't tr you know, but what typically happens is people, when they try to add their flair or they try to add their, "I don't like this or that," okay, but then talk to the original person about that. They might say, "Hey, I think that's a better way for us to do this going forward." Cool. So again, scripts are important, and that's why if that script works for you, then use it. You're the one who shared, "When I don't have it, I don't have success." More than likely, you're there's a different level of confidence when you have the script and don't have the script. And so it may or may not be the words that they're responding to or not responding to. It actually might be the confidence. Messaging is an amazing is really a phenomenal thing, and we don't recognize the that as we up-level our communications, we up-level our client base, and that typically means they have more resources. That's a fancy way of saying they got money
Mhm.
and they can pay for your services, right? If you say, I'm here to serve everybody," you're going to get everybody, and many of them are not going to have a penny. So take those three qualifiers and think about who that might be. That might be somebody who probably has resources. If they care about their appearance, they're going to spend the money on their appearance. They're going to, right? They're going to buy better clothes. They're going to eat better foods. They're going to do all those kinds of things. So again, communication, what you share is tremendously important. People get so enamored with their solutions that they can't possibly understand why everybody isn't as excited about their solution as they are. It's You have to be excited about your solution. Once you have that passion behind it, you now have to understand how your solution is going to transform somebody else's life. It's about their transformation. Does that make some sense, Lucy?
Yeah, that was beautifully put the way you said that. It sounded so easy, and yet those words don't come out of my mouth when I'm doing my calls, so I'm gonna re-listen to that part.
I think that they don't, and let me help you with your language right there. They don't easily come out of your mouth yet. That's why we're doing these calls. It's funny because people ask, "How did you get good at handling questions or objections?" I was the first one to talk to the people in the front row, and they would start firing questions. And so the very best way to become good at answering questions is to answer questions, is to have a bunch of them thrown at you. And that's where, again, even like with the script, well, how do you get good at doing the script over and over again? You do the script over and over again. How do I know if I'm any good at it? Here's what you do. You've got a video product right here. There's 4 or 5 different video products that even if you just read it into the video, now you could go back and watch and listen to yourself. I learned this many years ago when I used to watch my dad stand in front of a mirror and give a talk he was about to give. And He taught me to do it. And it's crazy when you sit there and practice in front of a mirror and look yourself in the eyes, how you can perfect a talk because of the repetition.
I can remember back when I used to absolutely dread and hate sales calls so much, but now it's not so bad. Definitely have a different mindset about it where it's nice to just get to know somebody, and I think of it more helping them to make a decision. I can either they can either help themselves or not, but it's not a reflection on me.
Exactly. So does your product work? Does your offer work?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So why would you ever feel bad about trying to help somebody?
Yeah, I think the more that I run my program and the more experience I have, the better I feel about getting on a sales call and just knowing that I can help them if they can be open to it definitely helps. So the confidence level, that's a big.
That statement you just said right there is, you know what? Here's what my clients have told me. As soon as I became open to it, it was amazing how Lucy helped me.
Well,
Selling is serving. And the more you remember that side of it, the better off you're going to be. You've got a solution to people with specific problems. So, you know what I really am? Is I'm a matchmaker. I'm matching people's challenges with tremendous solutions. And matchmaking only works when the combination is right.